877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. If you're just joining us, Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, passed away at the age of 90. We'll try to cobble together some of the interviews that we did with Bob over the years. We'll bring that to you on tomorrow's program. He's Jerome Bettis, the Hall of Fame running back, won a Super Bowl, and a former running back out of Notre Dame, 1993 draft, I believe. Do you see your jersey behind me?
I see it. I love it. That's old school right there.
That's Rams Jerome Bettis.
Yeah. That's where it all started.
Do you want that
right
back?
there.
Do you want that back?
No. I appreciate you displaying it proudly. I appreciate that.
How many jerseys do you have? Do you collect jerseys?
I do have some. Yeah, I've got a few. But what I did was I collected them as I was playing from different players. We would trade jerseys and stuff like that. So I didn't do much like buying jerseys or anything like that. It were all given to me at one time or another.
All right, give me an idea who you have. What jerseys?
I mean, I guess my pride and joy would be Jim Brown. I mean, I didn't play with him, but he signed it and everything for me. Marshall Faulk. I'm trying to think. Barry Sanders. It was a lot of running backs as I think about it. But the problem is I don't have them displayed. My wife didn't let me put any of my jerseys up in the house, so I so
wait. You bought
something.
the house, You bought the house.
I know. Here's what you got to understand. It's some battles that's not worth fighting, and you got to know. And I'm smart enough to know that was not a fight that I was willing to put out a lot of capital on.
Okay. All right. But do you have defensive players that you swap jerseys with?
No, I swapped with Urlacher, his shoes, our shoes, like in one of the last playoff games, we traded shoes. So that was pretty unique, but it was one of those one-time things. I didn't do that very often.
All righty. Let's start with your alma mater. What do you expect to happen on Monday night?
I expect to be a very close game. I think a lot of people are thinking it's going to be a blowout. I don't see that being the case. I think when you look at the teams that Ohio State struggled with, the teams that had a lot of physicality, and I think that's what Notre Dame brings to the table: physicality at the point of attack. They're going to run the football. They're going to be physical on defense. Now, I will say we're at a bit of a disadvantage because, our best defensive lineman, he got hurt, in the first playoff game. And so we're not as strong as we were up front. That's a little bit of an issue, but, we played them a couple of years ago and, back-to-back years or one after the other. And they were competitive football games, right? We lost there at the end of both games. And so it tells you that we can play with them. That's not the issue. The key is we can't give up big plays on defense, and we have to create some big plays on offense. I don't see us going 80 yards down the field every single drive. So we've got to open that offense up a little bit and throw it down the field and be successful.
You're going to the game?
Yes, definitely. It's in Atlanta, and I live in Atlanta, so there's no way I would not be at that one.
And is your son going to Notre Dame?
My son is enrolled, so he's a mid-year freshman. So we literally just dropped him off last weekend at Notre Dame. So we're real excited for him.
Did you cry when you dropped him off?
No, I didn't. I didn't cry when I dropped him off. Fortunately for us, his big sister, she goes to Notre Dame as well. So it gave us a sense gave me a sense of comfort knowing that his big sister was there on campus. And my wife, on the other hand, she left a day or so after me. So there was some crying. I do understand in that department.
He's Jerome Bettis, Hall of Fame running back. The running back is back, Bus. What happened in the NFL?
See, let me tell you what happened. The running back never left. The problem was you couldn't find those franchise running backs. And let me tell you why. So in college, they changed the game in the sense of they went to these four wide receivers and they went to this a smaller back so they can go laterally down. All the running in college is lateral, it's nothing downhill. So they went to little bitty small running backs. The problem is the NFL doesn't want little bitty small running backs. They still want power football downhill. And at some point, you couldn't find the running backs, right? If they're not coming from 5 or 6 schools, the Georgias, Alabamas, the SEC schools, maybe Wisconsin or Notre Dame every now and then, maybe Ohio State or Michigan running back. But outside of that, you're not getting running backs from all over the country like you used to. And so as a result, the NFL had to go to say, you know what? We'll figure it out. We'll go with these guys we'll get 4 guys who can do what one guy could do. And that's what kind of happened. That, and you start having to pay your tight end and the second receiver. And that money has to come from somewhere. So they said, you know what? Since we can't find the franchise running back, let's pay these other guys. And if we find one, great. If we don't, we don't.
Which running back is more prominent in his team's success, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. I would have to say Saquon Barkley because we have seen what the Baltimore offense can do without Henry. Yeah, it's not as explosive, but they are darn good without him, right? So, and they've gotten to the same level of success. Now, when you look at Philly, they're not as good as they've been in the past. If you take Saquon Barkley off of that football team, I don't know if they make the playoffs because they're just not clicking from a passing game perspective. And so with that being said, if you don't have Saquon Barkley there, they don't have, I don't think, a chance.
Is Derrick Henry a Hall of Famer?
100%. Not a question about it. What he's been able to do over the years that he's been in the NFL. 100%, I believe he's Hall of Fame worthy. So I don't know what that looks like, but I do believe he has all of the characteristics. If his career ended tomorrow, I think he definitely would be in the Hall of Fame.
What's wrong with your Steelers?
I think they haven't been able to offensively get it figured out. They need a second receiver, a big time receiver. They don't have one on the other side of George Pickens. They've got to figure out about George Pickens in terms of can he be the player that they need him to be, right? On the field, off the field, all those things. And so I think they have to sit down with him and get that figured out. I think also you got to figure out the quarterback position. I think Russell is a good quarterback for the time, but I think the problem is he's not a long-term solution to the issue. They have got to figure out a long-term solution at the quarterback position. And you hear a lot of talking heads speaking about the coach and this and that. You in the NFL, we've seen this now. This record is not, new. If you do not have a quarterback in the NFL, you are not going to win in the playoffs. That's what we know for sure. And right now, the Steelers have gone through this window of time where they've been trying to figure out the quarterback situation, and they have failed. They have not gotten it right. So I think that's what they got to figure out. I think if you put Russell in the position where he's got two really good receivers, a really good offensive line, a good running back, he can be successful. But to ask Russell Wilson to carry this football team on his back at the quarterback position, I think is unfair to him at this stage in his career.
Yeah, but Bussy, I got to put some of this on Mike Tomlin that, yeah, you get to the playoffs. He's helping try to get a quarterback. I don't think he's powerful in that organization, so Mike's involved in this. So if you're involved, like you can say we got to get a quarterback. Well, I got to put some of the blame on Tomlin that you haven't found a quarterback.
Well, here's what you have to do. If Tomlin was picking all the players, I would say, okay. Another piece of this puzzle is you have to commit resources, right? And so that means you've got to give up a couple first-round picks, right? Well, the Steelers, the draft is very instrumental in how they build their football team. So this is not a head coach decision in terms of what they will have to do in terms of draft capital to go up and get a quarterback. Now, maybe they haven't seen a quarterback that is worth, packaging and mortgaging the future on. And I get that. That may be the case. But I believe they're prisoner of Coach Tomlin's success. Because they don't have a losing season, they're picking anywhere from 18 to 25 to 27. You're not going to get a quarterback there, right? And so because in the last 17 years or whatever it is, they have been there, that's where they're drafting. So they've got to make a fundamental decision on how do we get the quarterback in there. The 1 year when I was there that everything fell apart, and I think it was probably the only year that we were, under 500 with Coach Cowher. It was 6-10. We got Ben that year, right? And so you don't get that's the situation. You're not able to get that quarterback. And so I think at the end of the day, there has to be some high-level discussions on, are we willing to commit multiple first-round picks to go get the quarterback that we need? Now, they're trying to get players that have gone from team to team. And for the most part, some of these guys, their careers are more behind them than ahead of them, right? And you're not going to solve the problem with that type of scenario. You can get from year to year, but it's not sustainable at the quarterback position. And that's the difficult part of the scenario that the Steelers are in.
Is Ben Roethlisberger still the best quarterback in Pittsburgh?
That's a good one. No, I definitely don't believe so. I know he's still throwing it. He's still throwing it to his kids in the backyard, but I don't know. I don't know if we can put him out of retirement and go for it.
Have fun on Monday night there, and good to catch up with you again, Bussy.
Hey, thank you, man. Hey, and you could have had any jersey you wanted at that spot. You put mine. I'm honored. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
The L.A. Ram, Jerome Bettis. Thank you, bud.
Take care. All right, take care.
Hall of Famer. Yeah, 1993 draft pick out of Notre. He wore number 6 there with the Fighting Irish. Bussy would be featured now today, with these running backs. But he does bring up something interesting, that college is 5 wide now.